Firewatch is a single-player first-person adventure game developed by the indie studio Campo Santo, published by Panic for the next gen and the PC. It is a debut for the studio, and I don't know if it is the beginner's luck, but Campo Santo made an extremely memorable experience which stayed with me days after I had finished it. First, I would like to start the review by telling you that the game is really short. I managed to beat it in around 3.5 hours, so the footage you will see will mostly be uncut, because if I showed you more, I would most likely spoil it. If I were to generalize, I would say that Firewatch follows the story of a volunteer fire lookout in the aftermath of the Yellowstone fires, but I won't and will now tell you more about it in depth. From the very beginning, you start with a screen which gives you the exposition on the state of the main character, Henry. In the following minutes, you get to choose the life of our hero, Henry, through character dialogue windows, which inevitably will lead to his tragic fate. Instantly, you are drawn into the narrative just by the soothing music that accompanies you in the choices you make for Henry's life. It doesn't really matter which path you choose, because throughout this difficult time in Henry's life, he decides to join the Firewatch, an organization whose main goal is to protect the forest from fires. The story is set in the last quarter of the previous century, and the technology isn't that advanced just yet. All alone with a radio, we take a job and make a residence in the solitary tower of the Firewatch employee, the same one that's on the cover. Almost immediately we get introduced to the other main character of the game, Henry's boss, Delilah. The word boss leads you to believe that she will only be a figure of authority and someone who antagonizes Henry, but instead we're witnessing maybe one of the most genuine conversations in recent video game history. I can't compliment Campo Santo enough for their effort in that regard. The dialogue is phenomenally written and delivered. The voice actors do an amazing job. And they successfully capture all the range of emotions a normal human being should have. I will give you a quick example of Delilah's quirky personality and how she comes to life thanks to Cissy Jones' performance.
Out your west-facing window, are you seeing what I'm seeing? Are those fucking fireworks? I need you to confirm. Do you see them?
Whoa, that's not legal, right?
No. You need to get down there right now and stop them. Fire danger is through the fucking roof.
Is that really my job?
Your job is whatever I say it is. Look, the closest ranger is like 2 days away. Go down there and set them straight.
Like, kick the shit out of him sort of straight?
No. Jesus, no.
What? I'm not a cop. It's not like I've got a rule book over here.
Just make sure they don't do it again. Take their shit.
Alright, fine.
Don't feed anyone a knuckle sandwich. Get going. You'll probably need a rope to get down the shale between you and the lake, if I remember right. There should be one in the supply box on the way. The code is 1234. It's actually that for all of them.
The voice acting is even more impressive given the fact that Delilah never speaks to Henry face to face. She resides in her own tower, far away on the horizon, which you can see in any given moment. Your interaction with her is only via the radio, and you don't have a face or body to cue you in on what's happening, just the voice. I also don't want to diminish Rich Summers' performance for Henry, which was just as good. As I said, these two meet very early on and establish a relationship right away. I always wanted to hear their conversation because they built their characters perfectly without it feeling rushed and giving their relationship a natural progression. What seems like a boring job to Henry soon turns out to be quite the opposite. On his first day, he hears about some teenagers in the local forest who use fireworks illegally, and not long after that he deals with them. Nothing out of the ordinary, and Henry starts to settle in and figure the job out. But it doesn't take long for things to start getting strange. Communication lines get cut. Under mysterious circumstances, a torn-up tent is found in the middle of nowhere, and we get the sense that something isn't just right. From that point on, the masterfully crafted suspense of the story starts to unravel and to leave you biting your nails on more than one occasion. One of the main faults of the game lies in its gameplay. In reality, it's nothing more than a walking simulator. The only other gameplay element which is not walking is the use of the dialogue tree. Every time Delilah talks to you, you can open a menu in which you can choose your reply. Some of you will think that this means a branching story with multiple paths and endings, but alas, that's not the case. These dialogue trees serve you to build the character of Henry and his relationship with his female friend. You can go sad and depressed loner or a sarcastic but lovable goof. Although it may seem like it, this doesn't add replay value in my opinion. You can get the feeling the game aimed for in one playthrough. One sudden realization I had while playing, which may kill the tension a little, is the fact that there is no fail state. By that I mean that you can't die, there isn't a scenario in which you can't proceed, you just walk to the next objective until you reach the end. That may also speak to benefit to the writers, because even though I knew I couldn't die, I was still swept off my feet in suspense and was really into it. As I come to the end of my review, I must address one final thing, which is the ending. Many people don't actually like it because, after all, the build-up, the big reveal of the game just feels like a letdown. At first I also felt like that, but after a couple of days of thought, it grew on me and I started to appreciate it more. You may like it or hate it, but I figured it would be worth mentioning given the fact that most of the fans don't love it. As a conclusion, I can say that you must try this for its unique storytelling, top-class performances, and general feel, but wait for the price drop because currently the game has a €20 price tag, and that may feel too much for a 3-hour journey. You decide for yourself, but be sure to try this one day, when the price is right. I rate this 7 out of 10, but give it my stamp of uniqueness.